welcome to Behind the Stunts. I'm John Orty. Thanks very much indeed for tuning in once again. I must apologise for the delay between the last episode and this one. If you are watching this currently, it means that my broadband has been installed and BT have done exactly what they set out to do in the first place. If you're watching this and the dates don't mix up, they don't match up together, it's taking a little longer than anticipated to get all that installed. So you're going to get a bumper issue this particular week involving 2 movies, 2 stunt reels and 2 classic sequences to make up for the week that you would have lost in the first place. So apologies there, but we'll do the best to keep everything moving along as we go. So we will start with the highly anticipated final instalment in the Ice Cream trilogy for Simon Pegg and Nick Frost. It is, of course, The World's End. The 2 previous movies, of course, Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz, tells the story of a bunch of lads, middle-aged men as they are now, trying to finish a pub crawl in a particular village round a series of pubs, ending at the World's End pub. And it becomes apparent that not all is well in this particular village, and ultimately the group of friends must prevent the cataclysmic ending that's due to happen. Brad Allen is the fight choreographer in this particular movie. We touched on some of his work in Pacific Rim a week or so back. He worked very closely with Nick Frost and Simon Pegg. Damien Walters and his team took the lead actors to one side and gave them intensive fight training in pub fighting, as you'll see in the picture, and coined the phrase pub foo. So you know, that's it's the type of martial arts and general fighting that you're going to see in a pub. Also, make a special point of looking out for Britain's very own Paul Kennington, who makes an appearance as a pub landlord during one of these particular fights. The trailer's terrific, and with a bit of luck, it will have been out a few days by the time you get to see this. Have a look at this trailer and tell me it's not worth seeing. It's terrific. It's very, very good. Here we go.
And we're back, just like the 5 Musketeers.
3 Musketeers, isn't it? Well, nobody knows how many there were, really, do they?
You do know that the 3 Musketeers is a fiction, right? Written by Alexander Dumas.
A lot of people are saying that about the Bible these days.
What, that it was written by Alexander Dumas?
Don't be daft, Steve. It was written by Jesus.
Are we there yet?
Let's do this!
They haven't seen each other in 20 years.
I'm free to do what I want.
But tonight, they're returning to their hometown to finish the ultimate pub crawl.
This is our chance to finally conquer the Golden Mile. 12 pubs, 12 pints.
And this time, they're going to make it to the last pub, the World's End.
Go!
Come on. What do you recommend?
Beer.
We'll have 5 of those, please. 4 of those, and a tap water.
What?
Look who it is. Wow, long time. Gary.
Welcome, bienvenue, welcome.
Oh, it's weird, isn't it? You come back and everything's sort of different.
I suggest you get on your way.
Welcome home, boys.
It's not us that's changed. It's the town.
What are you doing?
It's all right. I'm not trying to have sex with you. There's something I need to tell you right now. Unless you do want to have sex, in which case I'll tell you afterwards.
Tell me right now. What did he say, Sam? Newton Haven has been taken over by robots. Did you believe him?
We should head back to London.
A, we're all drunk. B, we've got blood on our hands. It's more like ink. We've got ink on our hands.
From the creators of Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz.
Let's climb down the drain pipe.
I got a better idea.
Climb down the drain pipe.
The only way to survive the night is to make it all the way to the World's End.
Where are the others?
They're blending in.
Hello, I am a robot. We're just 5 friends on a night out, having a good time.
The World's End.
What the hell is that? We okay?
gonna get to the world's end if it kills us.
Oh no!
I love the thing I like particularly about it is the way in which it's a very English movie, and yet they've still used voiceover man to do the whole, the narration of the trailer. So when he says a pub crawl, it's a great American twang to it, which really works with a British product like this. That's just terrific. And after that, well, who knows what Nick Frost and Simon Pegg and Edgar Wright are going to get up to. But that's the last of that particular trilogy. It's a great shame because they were fantastic. So that's out at the present time, and go and see that because it'll be huge fun. What else are we going to do? Well, let's do our stunt reel for this particular episode, which very close to a lot of people's hearts here in Britain because it's Gary Powell. Gary Powell, who of course, from the Powell family, dear Nosha, who passed away very recently, Dinny and Greg, and Gary and Tilly, of course, working in the business these days. Gary has gone from strength to strength as a performer, individually as a performer with those very specific gags that he was involved in throughout the 90s. The tank, driving of the tank on GoldenEye, for instance, also on Bond, was barrel rolling the boat. The jet boat in the world is not enough, that was him too. The reel you're going to see, this is a stunt coordination role. He's taken a great many stunt coordinating roles, of course the Daniel Craig Bonds, for instance, and he'll be closely involved with Bond 24 as well, I imagine, when that kicks underway next year, for a November 2015 release. This is a great look at someone who does extraordinary work and puts every single penny up on the screen. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Gary Powell. doing what Gary Powell does best from the stunt coordinating point of view anyway. We know that he's involved in some second unit work with Martin Campbell at some point, as yet unnamed, and we'll watch out closely for him in the future. Now his Powell family also feature in this next sequence, which is our classic stunt sequence. It's from Revenge of the Pink Panther from 1978, and whenever Clouseau is about, havoc ensues. This particular sequence is a very good example. If you remember the movie, you will know that an assassin has been sent to kill Clouseau, and he's not making a very good job of it, frankly, or the fact that Clouseau is always in the wrong place at the right time, or the right place at the wrong time, I don't know which is which. He gets to a situation where he is at home and he assumes that Kato, his manservant, is about to attack him. In point of fact, it's an assassin in the house. There are two parts of this. We'll watch the sequence and then we'll talk more about it. This is it's a proper job and a half, it really is. Have a look at this, it's fantastic. So, there we see an extraordinary example of Clouseau saving the day by not knowing he was saving the day. So the first part of that, the guy all dressed in black jumping from the roof, jumps 50 feet down onto the level below, that's Dinny Powell, right? So Dinny Powell does the first part. And then the second part is where Clouseau hits the assassin with the Aikido stick over the back of his head onto a trolley which goes through a window, over the balcony and down through the floors. George Leach. That was the late George Leach. Now, I remember speaking to George 20 years ago, it must have been, with reference to his career, and this particular gag cropped up. The original idea was that as he came over the balcony, the production designer had created the set around the box rig. So the whole set was built around the width and length of the box rig that he was going to hit. So a nice, easy landing, by all accounts. The fall, he could fall perfectly into this particular box rig. But then meetings took places and changes took places and lots of different things. Dick Crockett, who was the stunt coordinator with Joe Dunn, were trying to work with the production designer and the production team and say, look, you need to give him a decent landing here, right? But of course what they did was they created a much smaller landing area and then put two different floors in as well. So it wasn't just a simple case of being able to fall from here and into the box rig and everything would be happy. He had to fall through here, he had to go through that floor there, through that table. That was the first point of impact, and then he had to go through the floor, which was the second point of impact, and then into the box rig. Now, you see there was lots of stunt guys around the table there, all having dinner, all enjoying themselves, and George comes crashing through it. He remembers lying there in that box rig, because you saw him hit the floor of the living room with a couple of sat on the sofa. He effectively hits the ground with his head and that breaks through that floor. So it wasn't a pretty ride by any state of the imagination, and he remembers lying there and wiggling his fingers and wiggling his toes and just trying to move his limbs a bit and think, yeah, okay, I think I've got away with this. He took a beating, don't get me wrong, he did take a beating on the way down, but he lived to tell the tale and came away with that with absolute serious kudos, because that was spectacular, truly wonderful job. And to think that that was all one shot, there was no camera trickery, there was no, right, we'll do it again. No, that was one shot. You got one bite of that and about 4 cameras rolling at the same time. So fabulous stuff, fabulous. So that's George Leach, and that's Revenge of the Pink Panther. A great time was had by all. So thank you very much indeed. That's us for now. We will be back next time with Wolverine. And Bob Bralver is our featured stunt reel artist, and we'll be looking at a classic stunt sequence from a Disney picture from 1980 called Watcher in the Woods. Alright, so come back and join us next time. Stay safe, and until then, I bid you a fond adieu. Bye-bye.